Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday morning. You know what that means. It's time for another episode of Come On Ref. I'm your host, Chad Bryan. I'm with Aidan Vance and Bales. Fellas, say hello.
What's up? What's good, everybody? How you doing? How you doing, Chadwick?
I'm good, man. How are you guys? You guys doing good?
We're living. I'm living.
Yeah.
Keeping
All
it
right.
simple.
All right. Well, hey, we got a good show. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. I mean, we gotta stop in. We're gonna check in with the Cleveland Force as we always do. We got some NBA Finals action. We're gonna look at some baseball division leaders. We're going to talk about the Cleveland Browns, some possible exciting free agent news with the Browns going on. I think everybody knows what I'm getting at, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And we're also just going to take a look at just some baseball stuff in general, man. I want to get into baseball today, but we'll get that a little bit later. We'll get that going. As I said, I want to stop in, as we always do, at the top of the show with the Cleveland Force. We got the women tonight hosting AFC Ann Arbor. That'll be at DeSanto Field, and kickoff is at 7. And as always, you can go to clevelandforcesc.com for your tickets. Please go support the Force. They could definitely use your support, and it's like I said, it's great soccer to watch. Earlier this week, I think the men tied. Do you remember how we were talking about King's Hammer last week? Remember we were so classy.
We were very classy.
We were very classy. I think we were extremely classy. Well, the men tied King's Hammer FC 2-2. You see the goals there. Cole Peretti just on fire. I mean, if the Force is going to score, it seems like it's going to be Ben's guy Cole, right, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I watched that game, and when they got that penalty kick late in the game, and I saw Cole stepping up. I mean, I knew the game was tied. I mean, that kid. Only time I ever saw that kid miss a penalty kick was his freshman year of high school.
That's impressive. That's really impressive. Well, listen, they're going to be back. You can if you want to go to Toledo, you can see them tonight. They're going to be back in action at Paul Hotmer Field, and that's at the University of Toledo. So that's going to be on the campus of Toledo over there. Again, you want to support the men. It's a quick jaunt over to Toledo. Want to see Cole Peretti possibly score a goal or two? Go check out the men tonight in Toledo. That's the Cleveland Force. And again, clevelandforcesc.com for tickets. You can check out schedules. There's all kinds of stuff on the website you can look at. I mean, they've got plenty of content there. Please go check them out and support them for us. We appreciate that. Speaking of back in action, man, the NBA Finals. Wow. There's been all kinds of action. The series is tied 1-1. The Heat came out of nowhere in the fourth quarter, in game 2 to steal that one. I thought it was 2-0. I thought Denver had that game sealed up, but the Heat came back. It's 1-1. What are you guys' thoughts? I mean, first 2 games of the series, what have you noticed?
A lot. I mean, the Heat made an adjustment to start Kevin Love, which allowed Kevin Love to be able to guard Aaron Gordon, which they didn't have anybody else who could guard Aaron Gordon except Jimmy Butler. So that took Jimmy Butler off of Jamal Murray. So that allowed Jimmy Butler to go back on Jamal Murray in game 2, which kind of slowed down Jamal Murray. If you look at the box score, most of the game he handled him for the most part. Jokic had a big game scoring, only 4 assists though, which is a big deal. Yeah. A lot of that could be missed shots. Michael Porter hasn't shot it great. Yeah. KCP hasn't shot it great. But a really good game plan by the Heat. Gabe Vincent playing well again. Jimmy down the stretch was good. It looks like he's lost some gas. 7 for 19 again tonight. He's not been the same. Kevin Love played really well. Duncan played well. They just played an all-around pretty good game, man. The Heat fought back, went on a run, took the lead, and then right after that, Denver went on a run and almost came back and tied the game. But it's interesting. I'm happy I said Denver in 6 because I was going to go Denver in 5 for a while there.
And, yeah. I mean, I know we've all obviously seen it, but I just think it gets to the fourth quarter and it's within, 10 or 15. I mean, you can't count the Heat out. They've done it all playoffs.
No doubt.
I mean, they were down 10 to, they were one fourth quarter away from not even being in the playoffs, and now they're in the NBA Finals tied at 1-1. Like, you can't count them out in the fourth quarter, like you said. If all their role players are playing decent basketball, yeah, they have a shot to win any game they're in.
Yeah, everyone's accepted their role, which brings me to my next point, guys. Have we learned not to pick against the Heat yet? I mean, no. I said Denver in 5. I thought I wanted to push it to 4. I thought Denver was going to come out and just absolutely roll Miami, and now I told you guys yesterday off the show. I think Miami could win Game 3 now tonight. I think they could be up 2-1 after tonight, but that's just me. I don't know. We'll see. Listen, weirdly, the key to this whole series so far has been is it free throws?
Could be.
Have you noticed anything trending with free throws in this series at all?
I know the Heat had 2 free throws the first game. That one was more due to just terrible rim pressure by them,
Yeah.
not attacking the rim enough.
Yeah.
The biggest key was making Jokic more of a scorer instead of, an all-around basketball player. The first game, triple-double, 27, 10, 14.
Mhm.
So it's like, what would you rather have, the 41, double-digit rebounds but only 4 assists? That means not that many other people are getting involved, right? Jamal Murray didn't shoot it great off the dribble because Jimmy Butler's longer. He's bigger. He's stronger. You can't overpower him. Against smaller guards, you can do that. So there's just a lot of different keys to the series, but the biggest one is just limiting Nikola Jokic's playmaking ability. And some of that just comes with luck, just shooting variance from guys like Michael Porter Jr. and KCP. You just got to hope they miss sometimes.
Sure. I wish I could give points for answers because, I mean, the luck thing, just that strikes me because, I mean, sometimes that's what it comes down to, man. It's just knocking down an open shot in the NBA. It rarely comes down to skill, right? It's not like these guys can't knock down these shots. It's just what's going on in that moment. Right. But the reason I bring up the free throws, I don't know. I go down these rabbit holes sometimes, man. Jody jealous as Gabe Vincent
might
get the
get
Brunson
that
treatment.
I don't know if he'll get 120. He's probably looking at least 80 though. Gabe Vincent is. I mean, good positional defender, can get it off the pick and roll pretty well. Good 3-point shooter. So he's definitely going to get a bag. I think he might have just played his way out of Miami with the contract he's about to get. So we'll see.
Yeah, being versatile, it seems like that helps a little bit, right?
No doubt.
But yeah, I went down this rabbit hole. I started reading about. I said, free throws really that important? I mean, are we sitting in this series? But listen, the league average this year for the regular season was over 78% for the first time ever in the NBA. So guys are hitting more free throws, right? They're taking advantage of these opportunities to score, with no time running off the clock, which I think obviously is a benefit to both teams. But when Denver can just straight fill it the way they can, I think this is an advantage to the Heat if they can get to the line in this series. Because I mean that the weirdest thing is you think, okay, it's the playoffs. Like, okay, the stakes are up a little higher. Maybe that free throw percentage goes down. It doesn't. It actually goes up. It's 79.5% this year in the playoffs overall, which is crazy to me. So, like I said, just get to the free throw line and win, right? Does that sound right?
That's definitely a big part of it. You got to get to the Heat have to get to the free throw line to score points.
And I think it helps the Heat more than it helps Denver. Like I said, Denver can straight fill it, but the Heat have to score with no time running off the clock at times. I think this helps.
The Heat are just not terribly good on offense, right? They're decent, but there's stretches where they can go where it's a little in the mud, I would say. So it's like you need that for the Heat more than you need it for Denver for sure. If they get to the line, there's a chance they get to the line the next game 30 times, but Denver makes 17 threes because Michael Porter Jr. gets hot and KCP gets hot and Jamal Murray has a better game. And it's like, we still lost by 15 because they hit 17 threes. So
can't trade 1 for 3. Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough look.
This is hard.
So I mean, well, I want to bring up. So game 2, like you said, Miami 2 free throws, not ideal, but they were 18 of 20 in game 2. So I mean, like I said, it seems like 20 is like the magic number. Oddly enough, Denver was 16 of 20 in game 1. So it's like, weirdly, I know it's only a 2 game, it's a small sample size, but it's like, hey, get to the free throw line 20 times. Maybe win a finals game right now. I don't know. Maybe that helps. So Ben, let me ask you, can one of these teams actually control the finals just by making sure they get to the line 20 times? Can you really do that? I know Aidan touched on it a little bit, but I mean, can Miami do that? Can Denver do that?
I definitely think if Miami is able to control the free throw battle and shoot it at a high clip and a high rate, I definitely think that you could. I definitely think that they could. Because like you said, Denver can score whenever they want to. They have, like I said, if they get hot, and everybody's making threes, they'll still win by 15.
Yep.
Yeah, and also like you said, you can't trade 1 for 3.
Yeah.
But if the Heat are also able to stay close, you get down the stretch, and you can get to the rim and get contact and get free throws and knock down those clutch free throws, you're gonna force the Nuggets to maybe put up some shots they don't want to put up, and therefore it leads to either rebounds for you, quick transition points, or they're going to foul you to try and stop the clock, and therefore, if you're making your free throws, you'll win the game.
Yeah.
So I think
It sounds so easy. I was going to say, why don't they just attack Jokic and get him in foul trouble? But he's really not that type of a player. He's so disciplined. He doesn't really fall into that.
He's not, but the Lakers were able to do it, and you could see that he was way more passive on defense. I mean, like you said, it's not that he's great defensively, but he just has that high basketball IQ. He knows where to be. He knows where to stand.
Body control. Yeah.
And even on offense, when he's driving in, he was more playmaker, not as much of a scorer when he was in foul trouble because he didn't want to get a charge, because the Lakers were drawing a lot of charges on him.
Yeah.
So if you can get him into foul trouble, that could also help you because then he becomes more of a playmaker. And then, like Aidan said, you got Butler on Jamal Murray, and you have Kevin Love on Aaron Gordon, who have been hot in the playoffs. So I feel like he could help you.
Well, yeah, and I think Jokic just had noticeably a tougher time, pushing Bam Adebayo around a little bit underneath. I don't think it's, it's not quite the physical advantage you think it might be. I mean, we know Adebayo is strong, but Jokic just seems like this immovable mountain, man. But I still can't get over the fact that someone say he looks like someone's dad out there playing in sandals and socks, man.
Jokic obviously has got hit. I'm pretty sure he had 41 last game, but the difference in physicality is big. Bam, they're like, oh, why couldn't AD do this and stuff? But you got to look at body type somewhat. AD is a super high-waisted, more lengthy type of guy where it's more straight up, and you're not going to be able to take a bump as well. Bam is 6'9". Yeah. Probably the same weight as AD at the end of the day. And
lower center of gravity.
And it's hard to move him. And plus, when you watch Bam Adebayo jump, it's like watching a dude take off with a jetpack on. He gets up so fast.
Leg strength.
Yeah, it's insane. Somebody will jump way before him, and then he'll jump after them, but he'll be at the same point as them at the same time. Yeah. There's just not a lot of athletes like Bam Adebayo because he's the best switch big in the NBA. He can switch out on the guards and defend them fine. He switched out on the Brown and Tatum all series and was fine. Yeah. And then he's probably been the best defender in the playoffs against Jokic pretty easily, I would say. So it's just hard to beat a guy like that, even though Jokic is the best player in the world, which makes it hard.
He's going to get his. And listen, it's the same principle with LeBron when he was in his prime. LeBron, obviously a different way. LeBron was going to get his points, but it was like, if you could make him work a little bit harder and just maybe drain his legs for the last 6 or 7 minutes of the game, it seemed like he had a shot, and maybe that's what you do with Jokic a little bit too. I don't know.
I think Jokic could also take some stuff out of LeBron's book of just like, I know you're trying to put a game away early, but knowing teams are going to go on runs, try to let other guys do stuff for a little late in the second quarter or midway through a third. So that's why people are always like, oh, how did LeBron have his legs late in that game? How could he go by a guy for all of his prime, right? Well, there was possessions where he would just go stand in the corner and say, Kyrie, go try to score, man. I don't know if you got it tonight. Let's see.
Yeah, you're literally not going to score on every possession as a single player. So I mean, on those times, if it's to rest your legs, why not? I get it.
I want to touch on what you guys just said.
No doubt, Hoodie.
I want to touch on what you just said about LeBron saving his legs. We look at that. First half he had in Game 4 against the Nuggets, 30 points. Comes out in the second half and doesn't attempt a shot until 3 minutes left in the third quarter.
Yeah.
The dude was literally just standing there at the top of the key with his arms up like this. Give him the ball. And he was just letting his other players do it. And then he scored 9 in the fourth quarter and kept them close.
That's fantastic basketball IQ. Like you said, Aidan, I think it's so important to just kind of understand the feel and the runs of the game and know that at certain times other teams are going to get theirs. You just got to let it happen, and then you come back and
Yeah, LeBron probably would have done that game a little differently if he was younger.
Oh, obviously,
because he just didn't have the gas anymore. As a player, he doesn't have the gas anymore to go the full 48. I mean, he was playing 48 minutes damn near a game in the playoffs from 2007 to 2020.
And again, don't discount the effect of playing in that altitude. Again, I mean, that's
it hurts everybody.
Yeah, Bruce an older Brown fella, man. No offense to LeBron. I mean, us older fellas have to stick together. But
Bruce Brown said he was cramping after Game 1, and he's in Denver all the time. It's different playing up. It's just different than from walking around and then playing. So it's hard.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's not basketball there, but there's a reason why when you see players play at Denver, they have the oxygen mask on the sideline because it's it's hard to breathe.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
saw
it's
Tommy-
disorienting when you can't get oxygen. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
your muscles shut down. Everything wants to shut down on you. So,
No doubt.
well, listen, I have game 2 tonight, but no, game 3 is tonight in Miami. We're gonna find out if any of these things, maybe the free throw line is a factor. I don't know. Maybe both teams get to the line 20 times and they go 8 for 20, and it completely blows my theory out of the water. But keep an eye on that. I just want to see if that's a factor going forward. Tip off is at 8:30 tonight on ABC. That game's in Miami. We'll see if that plays into it at all. The transient crowd that we talked about. We'll see if they're hyped. I mean, I would think they would be coming back down or coming back 1-1. I would think they would be pretty hyped, right?
We'll be hyped up. We got tonight, Chadwick.
I think that, listen, I said the Nuggets in 5 originally. I don't care. I think the Heat steal game 3 tonight. I still think it. I think they're going to steal game 3. And I told you guys yesterday, it feels like a clunker for Denver. Like, I don't know why. They'll probably respond really well and win like 140-26. But listen, it just feels like a weird clunker for Denver. I think Miami wins this game tonight by maybe like 15.
What you got, Ben?
See, I think it'd be the exact same in Denver. I think the Heat win tonight, but then the Nuggets win game 4. I think you go back to Denver tied at 2-2.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think it could go to 7 with, like I said, I think the Heat win tonight, Nuggets win game 4. Then I think the Nuggets win game 5 back in Denver. I think the Heat win game 6 in Miami, and then you go to a winner-take-all game 7.
So just totally back and forth. Listen, I'm with it. Like I said, I'm willing to eat my terrible pick of Nuggets in 5 because I think the Heat are going to push this series out now. Like I said, I've learned not to pick against the Heat. I'm done. I'm going to give them their credit from now on.
I think if the Heat win tonight, I think it could go to 7.
Mm-hmm.
The Nuggets win tonight. I think they win in 5 or 6.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Listen, I want to move on. I mean, obviously, like you said, tip-offs tonight, 8:30 in Miami. But I want to talk about something a little more local. What did you say, Aidan?
Denver money line tonight, baby.
All right. There. Listen, if you lose money, don't blame Aidan, not me. I didn't say it. But I want to move locally, okay? I want to go a little bit more local. Listen, guys, do the Browns actually have a chance to sign DeAndre Hopkins? Is this happening?
No.
Yes, they have a real chance.
No.
Yes, they do.
Okay, hold on. I don't want to hear from the Steelers fan first. Aidan, tell me why the Browns have a chance to sign DeAndre Hopkins.
Do they have a chance to sign DeAndre Hopkins? Yes, because it's been reported that they do by every beat reporter in the Browns or around the NFL. That's why it's being said. Do they have the cap space to sign him to a huge contract? No, but that's not what he's looking for at this point. I know he wants a good amount of money. We can give him a good amount of money with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. Listen, I've heard it's important to him that he plays for a winner. I don't know what that means for the Browns' chances.
Wait, we think the Browns are winners?
Oh, do I? I mean, do I have to answer that?
I know. I'm just.
You're 19, right? You're 19, right?
Saying what?
How old were you when the Steelers won a Super Bowl?
6. How old were you when the Browns won a Super Bowl?
I don't need to be old.
Answer. How old were you when the Browns won a Super Bowl?
I've never been that old.
Okay, answer my question.
But you talking about them like Steelers keep winning stuff. They've been sitting at home.
Haven't had a losing
season. They've been sitting at home with us for a while.
Haven't had a losing season in.
All right. Well, that was fun. Hey, listen. So if they do sign DeAndre Hopkins, okay, Ben, who's the Steelers starting quarterback?
A guy with small hands.
No one cares, Ben. Okay, listen. So if the Browns actually do sign DeAndre Hopkins, who's the odd man out? Is it who is it? Is it Donovan Peoples-Jones? I mean, I feel like Anthony Schwartz is already kind of on his way out. I mean,
he's not even an odd man. He's just out.
He's just gone. Yeah, it's. He's messing around, falling for trap accounts on Twitter. Man, I don't know what's going on, but yeah, is Peoples-Jones on his way out if they get high? I mean, he has to be, right?
I think his value will start becoming too high. Yeah. I think there's a decent chance he gets traded for a nice pick, 3rd, 4th rounder. And then you move on and go with Hopkins because you're in a 2-year window to be realistic about it.
Yeah.
And you can't have guys, that are good but could be better in the future. You have to go right now. And who's a better player right now? DeAndre Hopkins is.
Yeah. I mean, that's hard to argue with, I think Peoples-Jones is an intriguing prospect, a little bit of a project maybe. The Browns don't have the time to try to cultivate that if they're going to, if they're trying to get to a Super Bowl this coming season, they just don't have time to cultivate Peoples-Jones to try to be a number one outside guy. I mean, you can't do it.
No chance.
Yes, I think it's probably Peoples-Jones. But listen, so okay, now picture the Browns offense with DeAndre Hopkins, with we'll say prime Deshaun Watson. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but
Yeah.
Nick Chubb, you've got David Njoku. I mean, you've got weapons, right? Now, are the Browns? Could they be the most exciting potential? I used potential in all caps. I hit caps lock before I typed it. Are they the most exciting potential offense in the league?
No.
Still not.
No.
Still not.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes is the most exciting offense in the NFL.
That's it. That's it. One guy is the most exciting offense in the NFL.
Yeah.
You can plug him in almost anywhere, right?
Yeah. I mean, I still think Philly's super exciting offensively. Got to see what Lamar looks like coming back.
I mean, I don't think he'll play with. I mean, if
I mean,
already quarterback shot,
is Kenny Pickett overrated or just properly rated?
I mean,
I think he's right where he should be.
I'm not saying
I'm not going to hate on Kenny Pickett. I just think he's right where he should.
No,
be.
I'm not saying DeAndre Hopkins is coming to Pittsburgh. Like I don't want him in Pittsburgh at all. I don't. But again, like Chad said, he wants to go to a winner, and I don't know if the Browns right now are, to him, considered a winner. I get he likes Deshaun Watson, but he also said he wants to go to a winner. And
well, again, it's the potential with the Browns. It's always potential.
But you look at the teams that are out on DeAndre Hopkins, that have been reported out on DeAndre Hopkins, and you say time, and those are the winners that we're looking into, and those are the winners, straight up winners. So then where you go from there, you look at roster and with quarterback. Okay, then you're looking at Myles Garrett.
The reason why he hasn't signed is because the contract Odell Beckham Jr. signed for all that money.
No doubt.
And the Browns, I don't think the Browns can give him that much money. At most, it'll be a 1-year deal.
I would guess 1 year.
It won't be a multi-year deal.
I would guess 1 year.
And because next year Deshaun Watson's cap hit is the biggest in the NFL.
It's exponential. It goes up a little bit. But that's okay. I mean, the Browns knew that coming in, and again, that's why the window is what it is. I mean, that's why it's a relatively short, time frame. When we talk about the Browns window, it doesn't last long. They don't have a ton of team-friendly contracts. Probably not going to be able to resign a ton of guys with the contract that Watson has. So they got to do it now. So listen, we talked about the most exciting potential offense. We have to talk about the other side of the coin because it is the Cleveland Browns. What are the chances the Browns sign D-Hop and just still have a 7-10 type of season? I mean,
like 60%, pretty much.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I hate to give Ben that kind of satisfaction, but I mean, it's true. I mean, it's the chances are good.
I will.
It's always a good chance.
I will say this: if Myles Garrett comes out and plays consistently all year, and if he, if he's within reach of tying the sack record, if he's within 18 to 20 sacks, and you get 3 of the guys with 4 to 7, the Browns could go
17-0.
Not 17-0, but I'm saying Browns could go 9-8 or 10-7 solely based off their defense.
Yeah. I don't see a huge improvement. Ben, I think you're right. I see people on social media, and this happens every year. I see people talking about 14-3, 15-2. I heard Watson completed a pass in OTAs. They're going undefeated. Chill out, man. Chill out, man.
Yeah, I think so too, Hoodie. But
yeah, I think so too, Hoodie. I thought about asking Ben why he didn't want Hopkins in Pittsburgh, but it's Pittsburgh, and I don't care. So it's okay. It's fine. That's your opinion, Ben. That's okay. Is it a chemistry thing? Now I'm curious. Is it a chemistry thing, or what is it?
I don't think it's a chemistry thing. I just think that, obviously we have Deontay Johnson, who we fully believe in. We have George Pickens, who had an outstanding rookie year.
Yeah.
And we don't value our 3 through 4 receivers as much as other teams might. We rely on Pat Fryermuth, Najee Harris, our running backs, our tight ends. So I think if you get DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, yeah, you're going to take reps away from Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Najee Harris, Pat Fryermuth, guys who were a staple of our offense last year. And I think that with the offense this year, with adding, Darnell Washington from Georgia,
okay, so it is kind of a chemistry thing, not like a personal chemistry, but like an offensive chemistry thing. Yeah, okay.
Because they're expected, to get all these targets because it's what the offense is based off of. If you add a guy with that caliber to this offense, it's basically going to force Kenny Pickett to throw him the ball because of his prestige and his stature. I was going
to say, is it the Odell Beckham effect? Where you feel that pressure to find him on every play,
Well, Yeah, I guess that was more of a Baker Mayfield issue.
Yeah,
As
it
we
was.
figured out.
Yeah, it was.
My thing is like Deontay Johnson has drop problems. George Pickens was cool, great rookie season. I don't know, he was like 34th in receiving yards. I know multiple receivers
Because he
that were
averaged 4
better.
yards. He averaged 4 targets a game. That's why he was
Okay.
34th.
Well,
he
then
still put up 800
that's
yards.
fine. That's fine. Then it's not taking that many targets away from him if it's one more target going to DeAndre Hopkins, right?
Good
He
point.
still
That's
targets
fine.
to Frymuth, not
Point
Byron-
Deontay Johnson.
Okay, targets going to Najee Harris instead of a receiver. Are we really wanting to do that in the offense? That's probably why part of the reason we were 9-8 last year without an explosive offense, I would guess. But I'm not sure about that. And Pat Frymuth is good. I like Pat Frymuth. Deontay Johnson has had drop problems ever since he got into the NFL. So why wouldn't you guys take a guy with some of the most sure hands in the NFL history and put him on the team? Maybe that could help out. But I don't know.
Good route runner too. I mean, really good route runner.
You'll see. We'll see what happens.
That's okay. I mean, hey, like I said, Ben, it's your opinion. I mean, it's no big
I mean,
deal.
when he
yeah.
signs with Pittsburgh, I mean, I wouldn't be mad. But I'm saying, personally, I just don't
No
want it.
doubt. I like my young guys too, and there was a part of me that didn't want D-Hop on my team because I like DPJ and I like, Elijah Moore and I like Cedric Tillman. But at the end of the day, I just got to think about it in the best way possible.
I would say if Pittsburgh were to get DeAndre Hopkins, I feel like Pittsburgh would trade Deontay Johnson.
Think? You don't
Yes.
think they'd go more 3 receiver sets with 1 tight end?
Because you drafted Darnell Washington for a reason. You're going to run 2 tight end sets.
I'm not sure Pickens is that type of quarterback. I don't know.
Think it is?
I mean, well, even Mike Tomlin said, I mean, I know we're talking about Browns, but he wants to get back to, the old Pittsburgh Steelers football, smash mouth, run the football. That's why they drafted Darnell Washington for 2 tight end sets, run behind both of them.
Oh, Terry Bradshaw days? Like, all right.
Yeah, get
Back to
to
the 70s. That's fine.
He won 4 Super Bowls.
I mean, it worked, right? Yeah. Who am I? Like, what am I saying? It worked. I'm gonna get out of that quickly because I'm losing this one. Listen, I want to move on to baseball. Let's talk about baseball. We're gonna talk about the division leader. Let's just go around the league and look at some division leaders, and we can kind of, I don't know, man. There's storylines here that we can get into, right? Where do you guys want to start? I want to start in the American League. Okay, let's start in the American League because let's just do that. You've got the AL East. I mean, the Rays, are they going to give up control of that AL East at all? I mean, I keep thinking they're going to fall off, and they keep looking like the signs are there, but they're 44-19.
Who's second in that division again?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I don't think they're going to fall off.
Well, I think last time I looked, I think the team in second place was only like 4 games back.
Yeah, it's not bad. That division's really good. There's a bunch of teams that would be probably in first or second in every other division in baseball. I mean, the AL East is really, really good. It's top to bottom. There's not a bad team. You know what I mean? The Red Sox are probably the worst team in the division, but there's not a bad team there. I mean, you've got Toronto, Baltimore's playing well. The Yankees are still really dangerous. I know they've had a slow start or whatever. Like the Cardinals have had a slow start, but those are 2 dangerous teams, I think. But I don't know. I don't think it just looks like the Rays are going to keep winning at this pace. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of hard to bet against them right now.
It is, yeah.
They're the Heat. They're like it's like you look at them on paper and you're like, how is this happening? I mean, like, don't get me wrong, the Rays have a great roster, but I mean the payroll being what it is, it's just that it's like they play in a back alley building. I mean, it's unbelievable, and they're 44-19.
You look at the other teams in that division, and you're like, ooh,
yeah.
Maybe they'll catch him, but I don't know. It's hard, man. He's hoping.
Well,
I agree with you.
Aaron Hicks has looked better on those.
But I agree with you. They need to open a checkbook, but again, they won't.
I don't think you can in the AL East. You can't compete with. I mean, unfortunately, the Rays are what they are with no payroll. I mean, then you can't compete with the Yankees and Red Sox. I mean, even Toronto. It's the Baltimore's in a tough spot, man. They're in a tough spot.
Baltimore's in a tough spot, but here's the thing: Baltimore has a top 5 ranked farm system in baseball. They have some of the best prospects in baseball. If you call them up, you get them for 6 years guaranteed, unless you trade them without them being free agents. So if you get all those guys up at the same time,
but just calling them up doesn't do anything. They got to perform. I mean, you know what I mean?
Obviously, that's what I mean. But like, if you call them up and they perform, you could compete in that division for at least 6 years until they're gone, and then you're in the same boat again.
Yeah, it just never seems to work that way, though. It's like the Yankees, the Rays always seem to replenish something. It's like it just never seems to quite work out that way. I mean, Baltimore's not really a small market team, but they kind of feel like a small market team in the AL East. It feels like they have no chance. Let's go to our, the local division here, the AL Central. It is warm garbage. The Twins are at 31-30. They're the only team over 500 in the division. I'm sorry, swear jar. The Guardians are what, 3.5 games back. They're hanging around. They're not playing well at all, right? It feels like they're 0-10 over their last 10. It feels like they've had a terrible stretch, but here they are. They're 3.5 games back. They just got Tristan McKenzie back. It's going to get warm. This is when the offense takes off. Like Ben said before the show, I think they were under 500 until July last year, right?
Yes. First time they went over 500 was they got to 500 right at the All-Star break.
Mm-hmm.
They went one game over 500 in July, and then they went under 500 again by like 4 games. And then after that, they rattled off I think it was 15 other like first 20 games after the All-Star break, and then they never looked back.
Listen, you can't count on that every year, but at the same time, I don't think you panic right now either.
Tito's done it every year with the Guardians.
Yeah,
every year once June, July, August come around, the Guardians are playing some of the best baseball, but it doesn't help when Jose Ramirez, your MVP caliber player, is hitting 260.
Yeah.
When games he's hitting 260.
But they're still hanging around. I mean, as bad as they've been, yeah. Luis Arias is absolutely ridiculous. We talked about it yesterday off the show. The list of guys who have had 7 times more hits than strikeouts in a season. And it's Tony Gwynn, and Luis Arias. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? Like,
I saw that list, and not only does he have more hits than strikeouts, he has more extra base hits than strikeouts.
Yeah, he's hitting the ball harder too. That's the thing I was going to say. Arias just isn't slapping singles, and that's not taking anything away from Tony Gwynn. That was the game, at the time. Okay. Gwynn hit over 15 home runs a couple of times, and probably could have hit 20 or 25 if he really wanted to. Arias is, and he's just stuck down there in Miami. I feel terrible for him. I feel bad.
The Rangers. I was say let's just get to the AL West, but
right.
Oh yeah, let's go to the AL West because you've got the Rangers sitting here at 40-20, right?
20 without Jacob deGrom.
Well, without Jacob deGrom for a long time now because he's set to have Tommy John surgery, right?
I think they're able to reevaluate it on June 28th. That's the next time they're allowed to revisit it. Yeah,
it looks like I think they're heading towards surgery. I had seen that the team doctor they already had it scheduled. So
I mean, I know Hoodie Jello posted on his Instagram. I think Marcus Semion's on like a 24-25 game hit streak now.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you can ride his bat, and Adolis Garcia as well, and Nathan Eovaldi has come out of nowhere. He's got his last 3 or 4 starts. He's got a below a 1 ERA.
Yeah.
So if you can survive with him, even if he's at a 3 ERA, if you can survive with him with your offense, the Rangers have a chance to make some noise this year. And
listen, he's a couple years older, but he's done it for long stretches before.
Yeah,
I mean,
he has. And if the best case scenario is DeGrom doesn't need Tommy John, and he comes back late in the year, if you can get Nathan Eovaldi to just pitch well until he gets back, say if he comes back right for playoffs and you only use him once or twice a series, you could work him out through the entire playoffs. Yeah. Like you said, it's looking like he needs Tommy John. So
I could be mistaken, but I from what I read yesterday, he's set to have Tommy John surgery. It's happening.
I didn't see that. Like I said, I just saw that they're able to reevaluate on the 28th. So
I saw the same thing as you, Chad.
I saw it was scheduled with the team doctor. They're ready to go. I think they just want to get him back on the mound as soon. Why drag it out? You know what I mean? If there's any kind of damage at all in there, go in and do it. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I'm not saying he shouldn't get it. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
The Rangers obviously want to consider all their options because if you can get him back this year, obviously, if you're competing, you're gonna want to consider all your options.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you like you said, best case scenario, he doesn't have the surgery, comes back. Worst case scenario, he takes 4 to 6 weeks off, comes back, needs the surgery, and then his comeback is delayed by another month and a half, 2 months into the season next year. And now, like you said, that contract now becomes a disaster. No if they can get him back on the mound by next, June, mid-June, July, that's okay. But if it's August, September, that's a wasted season. Even with the Eovaldi doing whatever he's doing, it's going to be a completely wasted season and a half for the Rangers. So that's clearly not good news. But we want to talk about, sometimes we talk about these surgeries and we talk about, injuries or whatever. And Tommy John, so what is Tommy John surgery? I was opening up some old baseball cards and I actually opened up a Tommy John card. I thought that was pretty cool. And I was like, you could actually do the surgery with the card. Just the edge of the card was so sharp. You could do the surgery with it. But so what is Tommy John surgery? Well, obviously, it's based on what you injure yourself, you have to have surgery. So, what is the injury that causes this? Right? It's the ulnar collateral ligament. Okay, it's in your elbow. So, what is the ulnar collateral ligament?
Don't know.
I asked myself that, and you know who knows what the ulnar collateral ligament is? You remember? You guys remember Blue Man?
Oh yeah, Blue Man. He always
Blue Man knows what the UCL is, right? It's just a little ligament right there in your elbow that keeps your arm from flying off when you throw a fastball at 102 miles per hour on the outside corner, right?
Same ligament that Brock Purdy tore. Had to get Tommy
Yeah,
John as well.
yeah. It's not just a baseball injury, but when you do throw 102 on the outside corner and it tears, Blue Man says, "Ouch!" Right?
Yeah,
that's bad. So, listen, it's a painful injury. I've had some UCL trouble. I've never had a tear, never had Tommy John surgery, but I've had some swelling around there. Your hand goes numb. That's not great when you're trying to throw a ball. I never threw 100 miles an hour unless you count, if you add up 2 pitches or whatever. But if you're trying to throw a ball, it's usually not good if you can't feel it. So, it is what it is. Unfortunately, I feel so terrible for DeGrom. He could be, by now, we could be talking about him as one of the top 3 or 4 pitchers of all time if he had just been able to stay healthy.
If he'd been healthy, yeah. I'm like Mike Trout was talking about it the one time, and it's like going in the box with DeGrom is literally just trying to guess where a pitch is going to be before it ever happens because there's no chance you can hit it any other way. So you just put your bat in a place and hope it goes there.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
It's like I forget who said it, but it was a legend. They were talking about somebody throwing 100, 102. And he's like, it's almost like you just stick your bat out there for a bunt and just hope the ball hits it and goes over the fence.
Yeah. Well, listen, at that speed, and when DeGrom, so listen, the thing is, tunneling pitches is the key, right? Yeah. You can throw 102, and then if your breaking stuff looks completely different coming out of your hand or even around your shoulder, I mean, guys in the major leagues are going to pick that up and one at bat, let alone with all the video that exists out there, right? So the way that DeGrom tunnels his slider with his fastball, that's what makes him so dangerous. Because when you've got a guy that throws 102. And then on the next pitch, you can throw a 90-mile-per-hour slider that literally disappears, falls off the table, goes away, whatever, bounces off something, whatever analogy you want to use, the ball just completely disappears. And I think against guys like that, like Trout said, you kind of have to go up and just sit on one pitch and hope you get it.
I want to touch on what you're saying about tunneling. Ben Joyce, who just got called up for the Angels, he has a 94% usage rate on his fastball.
Yep.
The reason being is because his off-speed stuff comes out of a different arm slot.
Mm-hmm.
He's thrown, I forget what the was. I think it was 12 off-speed pitches, and all 12 balls have been hit for singles or doubles.
Yeah. Listen, there's a reason. Great point. This is a great point, Ben, because I just read 105 miles per hour, right? And it took him a while to get his first strikeout. I mean, you would think a guy would come up throwing flames like that and strike everybody out, right? It's not easy to be Spencer Strider. It's not easy to be Jacob DeGrom. Like, you have to locate pitches. You have to tunnel pitches. You can't let guys even have any kind of an inkling of what's coming next. I mean, these guys are hitters, man.
I mean, it's kind of like going back to Aroldis Chapman, like you said, and it was just so effortlessly 102. The reason why he, had to develop other pitches was because, don't get me wrong, 102 is fast. No, I mean, I couldn't hit that. I couldn't hit that even if you gave me an arm or a boat.
I don't even think
I could
see it.
It's ridiculous.
Like, they're in the MLB for a reason. Those guys know when to swing. They know how early they got to swing. Yeah. So if you don't develop a even halfway decent slider or changeup, you'll be out of the league in 2 years.
No
doubt. Yeah. And listen, if you're a good enough hitter and you see 102 often enough,
it's gonna.
I'm not going to say it becomes easier, but it becomes not as impossible, right? Yeah, you start to you can't see it really. Your brain can't perceive where the ball is that quickly. You can't compute that. But you can make a pretty good guesstimate on where the ball is going to be,
I feel like that's what makes closers though so much more dominant because you might only see them once a series.
Right.
Yep.
Mariano Rivera's cutter was known as the greatest pitch in baseball.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you only saw it once or twice a series.
Right.
Yeah. If you saw him 3 times through the lineup, I think his numbers probably start to go way up, ERA and things like that. But yeah, it doesn't matter. If you can come out and get 3 guys out, you can get 3 guys out. That's it. Period.
And
you know what I mean?
Even like I heard Terry Francona talking about this. It was last year. When everybody was like, why isn't Clausen, getting 60 saves a season? And Terry said, let me put this in perspective. If we play the Tigers on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Then we play another team Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then play Tigers again on Monday. And he goes, I need the Class A to close 2 of those 3 games against Tigers. He's like, I'm not throwing him back out there because they just saw him. Yeah. He goes, I'm going to wait to throw him again because they wouldn't have seen him for a while.
No.
Yeah. It's the little nuances of baseball that I think a lot of people don't really understand. Because like you can't just throw guys out there every night, and it's clockwork, and they're humans also on top of that. You don't get the same production every night, but
no doubt.
That's fine. I think we've exhausted Blue Man here. Let's move on to the National League because, my favorite team is the Braves. I think it's important to point out that the NL East leaders are the Braves at 36-24. There's no real competition in that division. I mean, the Marlins have been better than the Mets. The Phillies have kind of fallen off. Pitching has been an issue. Everything's been an issue for the Phillies this year.
You mean the team that made the World Series last year?
Yeah, they got hot at the right time. Listen, and I'm not saying they couldn't do it again. I mean, they could get hot and win a wild card and do the exact same thing they did last year. It's just, and I don't think it's even the Nationals are bottoming out. But that division's not great right now. Definitely not as competitive as I thought it would be. I thought it might be a 3-team race, but it hasn't really turned out to be that. And that's okay. The Central, you got the Brewers 33-28. The NL Central to me is kind of underwhelming, like the AL Central is. Yeah. It's not as bad. But what I thought the class of the class of that division was going to be the Cardinals, and they've had huge struggles to start the season.
I just find it funny that first year Yadier Molina retires. They have their worst start to a season ever without Yadi.
Yes, and listen, that's the reason they've had tons of trouble behind the plate handling the staff. And we talked about it, Aiden, it's important, but you don't want to see your catcher hitting 160 either. I mean, that's a tough look. But you got to have a guy back there that can handle the staff. And then, I think maybe a little bit of a surprise in the NL West. The Diamondbacks are leading right now. They're not way out ahead of that. I think they're a game ahead of the Dodgers, but the Diamondbacks are in first place. So,
I mean, I don't know if you guys have watched Diamondbacks games, but dude, they're so much fun to watch. They are.
Yeah.
They're right now they're like the Guardians from last year.
Yeah.
They called up a bunch of their young players. You got Corbin Carroll, arguably the fastest dude in baseball. That dude is some of the plays that dude makes in the field.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And not only is he a good defender, he can hit. Yeah, he's not going to hit 30 home runs a year, but he's going to hit their strengths. He's going to hit the ball hard, put it in the air or on the ground, and use his speed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're a fun team to watch. I mean, you got Zach Gallen, one of the top young pitchers in baseball.
Yeah.
You got just a decent. Then you got a bunch of decent players around them that can hold their own. And that's why they're 11 games over 500 and a game up on the Dodgers.
Yeah, that center field fence out there is tough, though. Ask Marcell Ozuna, man, that 415-foot single over the last weekend.
I mean, that helps Corbin Carroll,
Yeah, I think the Dodgers still win the division.
No, I do too, but I think the Diamondbacks get a wild card spot.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks get a wild card spot. I just think.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. I think they'll.
I couldn't think of his name, Hoodie. I knew they had a good one. And you're right.
Yeah.
Gurriel and Varsho, 2 guys they picked up in the offseason. They've been incredible for him as well. Like I said, they got some good pieces around. They're young studs. That's how you win some games.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, they haven't overspent. I mean, they're doing it. I think they're doing a great job.
Look at the Braves when they won the World Series. You had your key guys, Freddie Freeman, and then around him you had a bunch of young studs that have now become staples in the Braves. Albies, Austin
Riley.
And
most importantly, that year they added all those outfielders. I mean, the outfield was an absolute mess, and they added Jock Peterson, they added Eddie Rosario, they added Jorge Soler, and all those guys played a huge role down the stretch.
No doubt.
And you might even see the Diamondbacks do that at the trade deadline this year too. They might
try to make a push.
They might be like the Braves and realize, hey, like we can still win our division.
Yeah, suddenly our window's now, right?
Yeah, right. And it's like
it's
quickly. Like crap. Like last year we weren't good, but this year, like man, we can make a run at this. Let's go make some moves at the deadline.
And don't forget, the Padres could still make some noise in that division as well. They've been a little up and down, a little inconsistent. For some reason, it seems like the Padres always have a chemistry issue. I don't know what that's about. The Browns, does that come from the top? I don't know. That's a weird thing.
I mean, I don't think it comes from the top, but
just like
going into this year, I think a big majority of it is players don't enjoy what Tatis did last year. The whole PDs, the motorcycle accidents, not telling the front office, and then he just comes back and instantly gets put back in the starting lineup. And players are probably looking at the coach like how does he just get put back in the starting lineup? When I've been here for the last 2 years.
Yeah, I get that whole last 2 years been here thing.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he shouldn't play.
He's better than you though.
I'm not. I mean, maybe hitting. he's one of the worst defensive.
Like I know what you're saying, but hitting is all people care
No,
about.
it's not.
No, it isn't. It is not Soto. What Soto is, that dude is. He struggled with the pitch clock. He's getting hot now though, and
I don't think anyone catches more flack than Soto for being really good. Like maybe Bryce Harper. Like people bag on Soto because he gets on base.
Yeah, I think.
What are we doing? Like that's a good thing. What are we doing?
Bryce kind of changed his narrative after a while. I think people kind of fell in love with him last year with the Phillies.
I've always liked Bryce Harper. I
like
even when he was tearing the Braves apart in the division. When he was with the National, I don't care. Like I like the guy, man. I don't see what he's ever done wrong other than just be good and get some notoriety. I don't get it.
I think it was his whole, like I don't give enough attitude. People, he hit home runs, bat flip, and people are like, dude, this guy doesn't make the game fun. And then he went to Philly and took the Phillies to the World Series. And was like, oh, dude, we love this guy. He's one of the best outfielders in baseball. And it's like, it's the same guy that was with the Nationals, just with a different team, and just took him to a World Series.
I think Harper's always had fun. I like him. I love his attitude. I love the young. And listen, speaking of great attitudes and guys that make the game fun, guys, I want to talk about how good has Ronald Acuna. How good is Ronald Acuna Jr.? Not how good has he been. How good is he?
I texted you this yesterday, Chad. I wasn't a big fan of. I'm not gonna say I wasn't a big fan. I was a fan of Acuna when he first came up, because I saw the potential. Like I said, I watch baseball, but he's slowly starting to become one of my favorite players in baseball because of how good he is. The dude is the dude is inspiring the younger generation to have fun in baseball, and that's what baseball should be about. Not be so serious about the game. He goes out there, he has fun.
Just has fun.
That's what baseball should be about, is having fun.
Yeah.
They're trying to take fun away from the game. And you got guys like Acuna who are still making the game fun. And that's what grows the younger audience, because kids are going to be like, hey, I want to be like him one day and have fun and get paid a boatload of money to have fun.
Yeah.
Like, who wouldn't want to? I mean, would you want to do that?
Hell yeah, I'd want to do that.
Who wouldn't?
Of course. Sign me up, man. Where do I sign up for that?
Right. Yeah, especially the swag Acuna has. Like, who wouldn't?
Yeah, I think as a baseball player, you can make a good argument Acuna's damn near a top 5 player in the MLB right now.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I'll do it right now. I can do it right now. I'll show you his stats. First of all, let's look at his stats while we talk about him.
And he's just this, you see more guys with that type of hair that look like me and stuff.
Yeah.
And more dudes that want to play with the swag that he has. You see him having fun. Okay, I can get into this.
Yeah, it's a huge step in the right direction, man. Personality. I want some life in this game, man.
You want to talk about marketing a player? This is a guy like the MLB should focus on marketing as a player, because it's just so fun to watch him play. Yes. And all people can just watch him play baseball.
And
because
that's
fun.
That's why the Braves have, I don't know if you've seen, Chad, obviously you've seen their social medias, but the Braves are big on marketing him on social media because of how much he is loved in the city, not only in the city of Atlanta, but just in all of baseball.
Yeah.
Well, listen, now pay attention to some social media, because there are some people that will not let go of the fact that he didn't run out a ground ball, 4.5 years ago in the playoffs, or that he didn't back up the center fielder last year for one crazy carom off the wall. I mean, people will latch on to anything to criticize.
I get that.
Right?
I get that. But like Aidan was saying, this dude plays with swag. I don't care if he didn't run out of a ground ball 4 years ago.
Don't care.
If this dude's hitting me 331 with 12 home runs and 32 RBIs and 52 runs
from the leadoff spot, 32 RBIs from the leadoff spot.
I don't care if he walks to first base.
Yep.
Yeah. I could care less. He could walk to first base, and I wouldn't be mad at him.
Doesn't matter. I don't care, because you know what? When he's going to get there, let's look at the next slide. He's going to second base, because how many stolen bases does he have right now? 26.
I don't care if he crawls to first base. If he gets there, I know he's going to score. I don't care.
He can literally do somersaults for all I care. It doesn't offend me. I don't care. I don't care at all.
He's my favorite baseball player. He has been for a while. Even coming back off the injury that he had, people were concerned that he would ever be the same again. He's better.
Yeah, he's playing
so much better.
So he's just a different guy. In the outfield, his glove is good. He can make all the plays out there too. So
has a cannon for arm.
He's a top 5 player in baseball.
And going back to like you said, the swagger. He was one of the first guys to debut. The sliding glove they wear on their hand.
Yep.
Now every player wears. Dude, I went to my cousin's 11U baseball game. Every single kid had one, and I'm like,
you're out there taking stuff out of the oven, man. I love it.
Yeah, I was like, dude, this all started from a young player named Ronald Acuna, who did it to protect his hands from getting stepped on or getting jammed. and now it's a staple in baseball.
Yep.
Like you see,
It's like Ricky Henderson. Listen, I had the padded batting gloves when I was a kid because of, like the neon green because of Ricky Henderson.
Yep.
And like here we are watching Ronald Acuna Jr. do similar things. And like I'm not gonna lie, man, I kind of want to get an oven mitt just to run around my house and like just want an oven mitt.
There's the power of prime stand and the arm of Vlad Guerrero on the Angels and the base running.
Like,
I mean,
it's not far off, but that is crazy.
You're not far.
Well, listen, two things, guys. I'm gonna cut you off, but I got bored last night and I asked AI. I went to ChatGPT. I said, "How good is Ronald Acuna Jr.?" And this is the answer I got. I'm just gonna read it to you word for word because I think it's interesting.
Sounds good.
Ronald Acuna Jr. is a 3-time All-Star, the only player in history. When you do that, that's good. With 120 homers and 120 steals in his first 550 games. Okay, we can talk about that. And one of only 2 players in the game with power, speed, and arm strength at elite levels, right? It says it added, I think this is funny. The Braves right fielder is as super as superstars get in MLB. I thought that was funny.
But it's right.
It's absolutely right. And listen, we'll look at the next slide. His current pace has him on right now. He's on track to be the first ever 30-60 player. I mean, 30 home runs, 60 stolen bases in Major League history.
Ridiculous. And like, I forget who was on MLB Network breaking down his swing. There's nobody that can do what he does. Like, his swing is so natural from where he swings it from. People go in the MLB have it tight. Like, you see, watch Mike Trout. He's from like right here, straight to the ball. Acuna takes that thing and he's like, okay. And just brings it to dude is just naturally more gifted than pretty much every other baseball player in that MLB.
I mean, I know this is a stretch, but like you said, he's got the power. He's one of the only players that has elite power, speed, and fielding.
Yeah. Yep.
He reminds me of a 21-year-old Mike Trout who first came up, and everybody's like, this dude is the true definition of a 5-tool player. Don't get me wrong, Mike Trout still is.
Yeah.
But Ronald Acuna right now is what Mike Trout was.
No doubt.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Fair. That's fair. Yeah. No one's taking anything away from Trout, but yeah, Acuna's just a new breed of that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Acuna today is the younger generation's Mike Trout of what I had in 2011, 2013 growing up.
Yeah, no
he is going to inspire so many people to not only one, play baseball, but 2, become outfielders. Just be like, hey, I want to be as swaggy as that dude.
Yeah.
And hit a bunch of home runs.
You're going to see a lot of number 13s.
You will.
So what's the knock on Acuna? Do you guys remember what the knock on Acuna has been? It was his K rate, right?
Yeah.
He struck out too much. And then we can actually look from 2018 to 2022. Now, keep in mind, he's very, very young, right? Look at those K rates. That's a lot. That's strikeouts per plate appearance. Okay. That's okay. He's striking out a ton. Okay. But
great.
So how has he put these numbers up this year, right? Because he started to settle in at 26, whatever. He cut those in half. Look at him down at 13.4. He's just not swinging and missing anymore at all. And he's barreling up everything. I mean, he's hitting, what does he have, over 10 home runs? Or 10 or 11 home runs that are over 446 feet. I think it's the next player in baseball has 2. I mean, he's not a big guy. He doesn't go up. He's not Aaron Judge. He's not 6'7", 500 pounds or whatever. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like you said, Aidan, with his swing, the amount of power that he generates, it's absolutely unbelievable. And just we can look at the K rate there. And I want to look at one more slide. I'm sorry, Ben. I just want to actually I'm going to show you guys a visual aid of Acuna's dominance. If we can just look at that.
I saw that the other day.
I'm looking at that, and that's like, look at so these are percentile rankings. If you can read that, okay. Average exit velocity, Acuna is in the 99th percentile in Major League Baseball. Max exit velocity, he's in the 98th percentile. So a couple of guys have hit maybe 2 or 3 balls harder this year.
Ooh, he stinks.
He's awful, right? Cut him. So this is a fun stat. Expected, right? Weighted on base average. And I wanted to look that up because I wanted to try to find the best.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah. You have no idea?
No.
Okay. Basically, it's just it's kind of a stat that for lack of a long explanation, it uses exit velocity. Just it measures how hard Acuna has hit the ball, and it takes defense out of the picture. Like a lot of times, you'll hit a ball 105 miles an hour right at the shortstop, and it's an out, right?
So it's kind of like contact.
This stat just kind of it shows you how good of contact he's made. Okay. So his expected weighted on base average, he's in the 100th percentile. Same expected batting average based on the balls he's hit, 100th percentile. Expected slugging percentage based on the balls he's hit and how hard he's hit them, the 100th percentile. It's absolutely ridiculous what
Is
he's
the
been
lowest
doing.
one I see it there, is that based on ball percentage? Is that 71%?
Which one?
The base on ball?
73.
73?
Yes, but yeah, 73%. He's in the 73rd percentile. Yeah.
Dude, like, if he's not
So
getting
more
hit,
patience.
Yeah.
He knows all he has to do is get on first base, and it's likely that he's going to score.
Yeah. And
he's special, man.
And like you said, he's hitting all these balls from the leadoff spot. If you put him down into the 3 or 4 spot where most of your power hitters are going to be,
he'd have 65 RBIs right now.
Dude, this dude would have 65 RBIs and 20 home runs. But his numbers have gone up since you moved him to the leadoff spot, so there's no reason to move him to the cleanup spot.
No, he loves the leadoff spot. Absolutely loves it.
And usually your best hitter hits 3.
Yeah.
Look at the Guardians, Jose Ramirez. You got the Angels. Trout hits 2. Shohei hits 3. You got the Yankees. Judge hits 3.
Yeah.
Your best hitter always hits 3. It's been like that forever. Babe Ruth hit 3.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just.
But Acuna, when somebody loves hitting leadoff like Acuna, you don't want to change it.
Ricky Henderson. He's Ricky Henderson, but
yeah,
I don't want to say more dynamic because Ricky Henderson stole.
Acuna is like, from like how smooth of an athlete is, like it looks effortless and the swing looks effortless.
I think that's why people get so mad at him. Like it looks like he's not trying.
Yeah, and the effect he could have on the culture of baseball is so profound at certain points. The only dude I've seen like this since I was a kid is, it starts to get into like rare territory because he got hurt, but the way he's projected is Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about like a guy, the smoothest athlete on the field, best glove, could hit for power, speed. It's just like, and this effect because he's got this swag and he's super cool and everybody likes watching him play because he's so fun and he does things so easy. This is probably the closest guy to it.
You want to talk about swag? Ken Griffey Jr. is the reason why sleeveless shirts are banned in the major leagues. Because during an All-Star game, he cut his sleeves off and wore them during the game. And the MLB fined him and said, if you do this again, you will get suspended.
Yeah.
So the next game, his whole team came out with sleeveless jerseys, and the MLB said, well, we can't suspend all of them because they can't play. So now they're just banned in baseball. And I feel like Ronald Acuna is going to be the guy that he's going to do something that everybody's going to do, and the MLB is going to have to take a stand on it. I'm not saying it's going to be for a bad thing, like Ken Griffey. He goes, I did it for the fun. He goes, what kid wouldn't want to go out there and play in a sleeveless jersey and a backwards hat? He literally did it during an All-Star game.
And the backwards hat.
When I was a kid, I had to buy that Seattle Mariners hat, and listen, I never wore it forward, like not once, because of Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah,
man, not once.
Even look at that graphic in the picture. Like that celebration's goofy. It's funny for Acuna. He's a fun dude to watch. Like he said, I wasn't.
He is fun to watch.
I was born towards the end of Ken Griffey Jr.'s stint in the big leagues, but that was fat Ken Griffey, not skinny guy. But Ronald Acuna, like Aidan said, Ken Griffey
Jr. If you're watching the show, I apologize. I know he's a loyal viewer. I apologize, man.
Ken Griffey is one of the smoothest swings in baseball, one of the best swings ever.
Yep.
And like Aidan said, you look at Acuna, his is so smooth too.
It's butter.
Like Aidan said, their games are almost identical at the age they are now. It's like Ken Griffey was and it
made more sense that Ken Griffey Jr. generated all that power. I mean, he's a tall, long, it almost makes no sense that Acuna is able to generate this much power. And it seems more sustainable because it comes from a more central location. I think it's amazing. Listen, there's no doubt he's been dominant. We're almost an hour in, man.
Will he hit 40-40? I think he will. For sure.
Listen, I don't know about 40-40. I think this year he's going to end up like 38-55. I think that's where he's going to end up. But that's still amazing. That's still absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, I think at some point he'll go 40-40.
See, I think this year he'll be the first guy to go 30-60.
Yeah, I think that can. But like I said, it won't be this year. It's like 38-57. He'll get close this year.
Yeah,
I think he could start chasing it though. I think he could just start going.
See, here's the thing though. If he starts chasing,
if they're up enough in the division.
If they jump up 10 games on this division, which it looks like they might.
But here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. I want him to chase it, but I'm going to say the opposite of that. If he starts chasing, that's when you can see the numbers start to drop. The strikeout percentage could go up. All that stuff could all that stuff could go down, and you don't want him to change his approach.
Yeah, I'm more chasing the 60 steals.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying, even then though, you can get greedy and want to steal and get thrown out and cost your team a run.
Well, we know he's got the green light at any time. He can go whenever, especially with the pitch clock, larger bases, limited throwovers. he can get to 60. I don't know if it'll be this year, but he will get to 60 at some point. He'll get to 70.
You'll see more guys getting higher stolen bases because of the pitch clock
and as they start to learn to kind of game the system a little more, I think that will happen. But listen, we're almost an hour in. Ben, I'm going to let you take the lead here because there's one more quick development in sport. I just want to get to this real quick. What happened in golf this week? I mean, there was like an amazing groundbreaking announcement. What did the PGA announce this week, Ben?
So the PGA announced that they are teaming up with Live Golf, which if you guys don't know, Live Golf is it's a Saudi Arabian funded golf league. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why it's called a league. Why I didn't call it a tour? It's literally each week they pick a captain for a team. There's 8 divisions. Or no, there's 4 divisions, 4 teams in each division. Each team in each division has a captain, and they pick their team of 4. And if you win your division, you get $1 million. If you come in last place, you get $300,000. So it's like these guys are going out there, and you can get last place, and you get
$300K.
3 events, you make $1.2 million if you come in last place. And
I play in tournaments like that all the time.
Right? But the thing is about the PGA Tour is they didn't tell the players. The players found out on Twitter. If you're going to make this big announcement and you don't tell your president of the Players Association, Rory McIlroy, who just doesn't want to play for the PGA Tour anymore, he wants to go play in the European PGA Tour because of what happened.
Right.
Wow.
And you have some of the biggest golfers in the world wanting not to play because you didn't tell them. Because you had some of the most loyal golfers in the world. Rory McIlroy, his contract never came out until just the other day. He turned down $750 million from Live Golf to stay loyal to the PGA Tour. And now you're going to make him mad by signing with the PGA Tour?
Listen, man, I'll be honest. The things I would do for $750 million.
Okay, yeah, don't get me wrong, but if a guy stays loyal to you over $750 million.
Oh my goodness!
I would watch an entire season of the Pittsburgh Steelers for $750 million. I think I could stick it out.
Yeah, no doubt. The boys.
Almost.
But
yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. I agree with you. But I've said this before. I don't know if I've said it on stream. Tiger Woods has too big of an ego and he's too prideful to accept money. He wants to go out there and prove that there's a reason why the PGA Tour is the best in the world.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's hurt, so he's not going to do it anymore. But there's a reason why he didn't take it, because he's too loyal to the PGA Tour, and he was the face of golf for years, 20-plus years. Yeah. He's not just going to up and leave like Phil Mickelson did. Yeah. But, don't get me wrong. If I was Tiger,
I would have taken it.
Probably taken it because, one, not as many events. You get $300,000 for coming in last place, and you could show up and Brooks Koepka showed up to an event drunk and won $300,000, and Live Golf didn't give a crap.
$750 million
is what it is. This kind of feels like the NFL USFL merger, the original merger, where it's like you had all that talent, all that money, but it couldn't quite, stay out on its own. I mean, I don't think Live Golf could have stayed on its own, but I don't really know. So what? I guess what am I trying to say? What impact does this have on golf, Ben? Like, how does this change golf?
Here's some ground rules. So it's probably going to change, but as of now, every single major tournament that a Live Golf player wants to play in has to pay at minimum a $100,000 fine. So that's to play in the Masters, the U.S. Open, the PGA Championship. Every single major tournament, they have to pay at least $100,000. So if you don't win and you don't make that money back, you're losing money. Yeah. So the PGA Tour is basically trying to blackmail Live Golf golfers to come back to the PGA Tour. Because, Michael Block got 15th and made $280,000. So if you don't at least make 15th, you're not going to make your money back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's a tough look.
I feel like PGA Tour is going to try and take over Live Golf basically and just run them out of business again and just bring all those guys back to the PGA.
Yeah.
Will Phil get less backlash now? No,
I
he will
don't
not.
think so.
No.
I think what he did, just like as a cultural guy in golf, and just turning his back on the PGA, I think that probably stains him for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff he said privately to the president of the PGA Tour, which I'm not going to get into. You can look it up if you want to, but he won't, especially if that stuff gets out.
Yeah. I think it could stay with Phil the same way it stayed with Kevin Durant. You know, the people bag on him for joining the Warriors and winning a championship there, and I think it's kind of the same thing.
Now, one guy that will get less backlash, in my opinion, is Brooks Koepka, because not only did he come and win, you know, the PGA Championship and win his, you know, 5th major, he did it with respect.
Yeah.
He didn't come in and, you know, being like, oh, you know, like that's why you should come to Live Golf, you know, like, you know, we're better.
Yeah.
You know, he went up to the PGA Tour president, shook his hand, and said, "Thanks for having me," and said, "You know, I can't wait to come back next year."
Yeah.
And like, yes, obviously he lashed out on the PGA Tour, but when he comes back, wins a major, and then shakes the president of the PGA Tour's hand and says, "Thanks for having me. I can't wait till next year."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who wouldn't want to have him? It's showing that he's changed.
Yeah.
Right. Like I wasn't a fan of Brooks Koepka when he left. Now he's one of my favorite golfers because he's changed. He's shown respect to every single. Him and Roy McIlroy still once a week go out and play 36 holes together, even though they're on opposite tours and they hated each other when it first happened. Now they're friends again.
Hey, there you go.
It could be good for golf. Could be terrible for golf. We'll find out.
We'll find out. Hopefully everybody can be friends and make up. Listen, we're all friends here. I think we have a great show. It's been fun. There's going to be no splitting off and, you know, dividing and conquering. We're not going to do like
show.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest. If there's a bag out there for me, guys, I'll leave.
Okay, that's fair. Hey, at least you're honest about it. I can take that. I can understand that, man. Listen, you got to do what you have to do.
Listen, if there's enough money on the table.
Well, as I talk about loyalty and Aidan quits the show, we got to wrap up for the week, man. Listen, I've been your host, Chad Bryan, for Aidan Vance and Ben Bales, for the men behind. Listen, the guys that run it, man, Brian Collins and Byron. Listen, Byron Coats. These guys don't get enough credit. I don't say their names on the show enough, but yeah, Brian and Byron really run the show. I mean, they're the production behind it. They're the reason you see the graphics. I mean, someone else might make the graphics, but they're the guys that put it around. They keep us on the straight and narrow. Byron makes sure I use all the numbers every week on the show. I gotta put stats out there. We want to thank them. I don't say their names enough on the show. And again, listen, we're over an hour in. I really appreciate you guys watching. Aidan and Ben, it's been another great show. I appreciate you guys too.
Peace out, y'all.
And we'll see you next week.